Camilla didn't want to be queen, as she called royal protocols bitches. King Charles's wife Camilla is said to have not wanted to become queen and called royal protocol bitches, a new book has claimed. The queen is said to have hated the idea of being queen and would regularly try to persuade her husband to step down from royal duties. A staffer for the royals claimed that Charles, 76, would demurely remind Camilla, 77, she would be doing it for him and to support him. The revelations into the royal family's life was revealed in a new book based on stories told by servants to the family. Yes, The Secret Life of Royal Servants by Tom Quinn is being serialized in the Times and gives a fascinating look behind closed doors through the eyes of the staffers who look after the royals. An excerpt from the book states, "One member of staff told me that at one point, Camilla hated the idea of being queen and would regularly say to Charles, 'Can't we get away from all this protocol? It's all bitches.'" Hello viewers, please remember to subscribe and click on the notifications bell icon, so you will be notified whenever we upload new cookies about the British royal family. Charles, who hates swearing, would demurely reply, "You're doing it, becoming queen, for me, darling." Camilla, who was previously married to British Army officer Andrew Parker Bowles, was infamously described as the third person in the marriage of Charles and Princess Diana. When the couple finally married in 2005, she became known as the Duchess of Cornwall. In February 2022, in a special message to mark her Platinum Jubilee, Queen Elizabeth said it was her sincere wish that Camilla would become known as Queen Consort when Charles became king. She said, "And when, in the fullness of time, my son Charles becomes king, I know you will give him and his wife Camilla the same support that you have given me. And it is my sincere wish that, when that time comes, Camilla will be known as Queen Consort as she continues her own loyal service." Elizabeth, who is reported to have been suffering from bone cancer, passed away 7 months later. Camilla is known as Queen Camilla, although technically as the spouse of a reigning monarch she is a queen consort. Traditionally, female consorts are styled Her Majesty the Queen, whereas the three men, Prince George, Prince Albert and Prince Philip, to have held the title have been known as princes. The bombshell book makes a number of revelations about the royal family, including the claim that Prince Andrew would remove staff from his presence if he didn't like things about them. Mr. Quinn also claims it may have been Meghan Markle's warm, friendly, hug-everyone approach made other members of the family, including Prince William and Kate Middleton, feel uncomfortable. The hugging became a particular problem for William as it fueled palace gossip that Meghan was flirting with him. Mr. Quinn writes, "This tactile manner made William uncomfortable because Meghan hugged him virtually every time they bumped into each other." Queen Camilla's tears for Holocaust victims as steadfast King Charles heads for Auschwitz. The historic visit by King Charles to Auschwitz-Birkenau later this month comes 5 years after his wife became the first British royal to visit the horror site. Queen Camilla, then the Duchess of Cornwall, appeared to be visibly emotional at times during a service at the Nazi concentration and extermination camp near Oswiecim, Poland. It was held to mark the 75th anniversary of the camp's liberation by Soviet forces on January 27, 1945. What the Red Army found there would change the history of the world forever. 5 years later, Charles will become the first reigning British monarch to visit Auschwitz for the 80th anniversary. Speaking to a Holocaust survivor at Buckingham Palace last week, he said, "I feel I must go for the 80th anniversary. It's so important." It is estimated that at minimum 1.3 million people were deported to Auschwitz between 1940 and 1945. Of these, at least 1.1 million were murdered. 9 in 10 were Jews. Overall, 6 million Jews, 2/3 of Europe's Jewish population, were murdered by the Nazis as part of the final solution devised by Adolf Hitler. Against the backdrop of such evil, it is no surprise that Camilla found the memorial service in 2020 to be incredibly emotional. On a freezing cold and misty evening, she walked along the railway lines that once brought prisoners to the death camp before placing a candle at the International Monument. Renee Salt, an Auschwitz survivor who later went on to marry a British soldier, said at the time, "To have the support of the royal family is of huge importance, not just to me, but to all survivors and the collective memory of our country." Camilla has often appeared to blink back the tears during Second World War commemorations. In 2010, she had to turn her head away during a visit to a church in Prague where Czech soldiers made an heroic last stand. She also had tears in her eyes last year during a service in Portsmouth to mark the 80th anniversary of D-Day in June 1944. Her father, Major Bruce Shand, won 2 military crosses for his bravery as an army officer. The first for his actions during the retreat to Dunkirk and the second in North Africa, where he covered the withdrawal of the 6th Rajatana Rifles. Major Shand met Winston Churchill before the Second Battle of El Alamein, was captured in November 1942 and held as a prisoner of war until the end of the conflict. He died in 2006. Meanwhile, the late Queen Elizabeth's first and only visit to a Second World War concentration camp came in 2015, when she made a personal and reflective trip to Bergen-Belsen. "It must have been horrific," she said to Navy pilot Captain Eric Winkle Brown, then aged 96, from West Sussex, one of the first British officers to enter its gates on April 15, 1945. Queen Camilla's ongoing pneumonia recovery could mean her and King Charles skip one big royal Christmas tradition. Queen Camilla came down with a chest infection in November 2024 before later revealing it had been pneumonia. Queen Camilla's still on the mend, which means Christmas could be different for her and King Charles III. Those close to Queen Camilla say she and the King might change their plans for December 25, 2024, and skip a royal family Christmas tradition to accommodate the Queen's ongoing recovery. On the heels of a royal tour with King Charles, more on that ahead, Queen Camilla came down with what was initially described as a chest infection. Later, it was revealed to be a type of pneumonia. Camilla has chosen to clarify that the specific viral chest infection she had was a form of pneumonia, a palace source said. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and drop comments. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything.